Yamaha Tracer 900 Best Motorcycle Review. Yamaha Sports Tourer gains more refinement for 2018 while retaining its bargain price tag. Ignore the adventure sports tag attached by journalists with an unhealthy desire to pigeonhole. Also disregard any snooty view that it's only a middleweight. Yamaha's Tracer 900 is actually a proper, wholesome, old-fashioned all-rounder, a sensibly priced large-capacity bike with the performance, handling, comfort, manners and practicality to make a ruddy good fist of pretty much anything you ask. A machine worthy of the old UJM, Universal Japanese Motorcycle, tag. The Tracer lacks the tech and glitz of rivals such as the BMW F900XR and Ducati Multistrada 950, though in reality you don't miss it. There's a higher spec Tracer 900 GT if you really must have a few more extras. Instead, the 847 cubic centimeters triple impresses with its feel, dynamic and mechanical bits, rather than bolt-on gubbins, flashing lights and buttons. Ride quality and brakes. There's a lightness to the way the Tracer handles. It feels fun and somehow lighthearted in the sort of way the original Phaser 600 did. Only with better suspension. Its chassis isn't quite as nimble in town as the BMW F900XR and doesn't have the floaty, sumptuous, semi-active ride of the Ducati Multistrada 950S, but then it doesn't have its price tag either. This doesn't mean the Tracer's flawed, though. Far from it. It turns readily and delivers easy, fluid, composed and almost sporty handling. Chassis balance is better than the naked MT-09 on which it's based, too. It just seems to work well regardless of where you're riding and what you're cracking on with. And cracking on comes easily, the 900 giving great confidence, encouraging spirited use and feeling better the faster you go. The rear shock can get a tad out of its depth when really tramping on, but you need to be riding like you're Dean Harrison on a hot TT lap for it to be an issue. The only other slight blemish to the Tracer's gloss is that slippery roads can make the chassis feel a bit loose. The standard tires play a big part. Although fine in the dry, they're too easily overwhelmed by the triple's torque in the damp, feel evaporates and confidence reduces. Engine. It's the 3-cylinder motor that makes the biggest and longest lasting impression. Grumbling, bubbling, whining, the 847 cubic centimeters triple is surely one of the finest road units ever created. Crisp to respond and grunty lowdown, it surges in the mid-range, snaps through gears like an overgrown enduro bike and soars to its top end. With a claimed 113 brake horsepower, it's on a par with opposing machines, but the Tracer feels fittest. Whether it's gurgling and pulling cleanly in town, using its rich mid-range for effortless open road overtakes or purring smoothly on a motorway, the motor has the flexibility and performance to rival other bikes, and is always superb. It can behave like a subtle pussycat or fire out wheelies with equal ease. All the proof anyone could need that you really don't need a 160 brake horsepower monster. Reliability and build quality. Yamaha really ramped up their quality and finish about 15 years ago, and the 900 is well made and presented. Though there are nicer details and finer components on more expensive rival bikes, the Tracer doesn't have anything that screams budget despite the attractive price tag. It's not just a great engine to use, but also one that's extremely reliable. There are examples that have done well over 100,000 miles without issue. Valve clearance checks are at 24,000 miles, so on an averagely used bike, make sure it's not being sold to avoid the looming cost. Value versus rivals. Basic spec isn't high, you don't get heated grips, electric screen or other toys. There are more gizmos and widgets on a Triumph Tiger 800XR or Multistrada 950S. You'll also pay a lot more for the competition, though. The Tracer doesn't have the flashiest spec, but it was very keenly priced when current and now great value used. For a given amount you get a newer and or better Tracer than a rival. And let's not forget that the core bike is excellent. Getting cover for your Tracer 900 shouldn't be too traumatic. It's Insurance Group 13, which is the same as a BMW F900XR, and a group lower than a Triumph Tiger 800/900 or Ducati Multistrada 950. Equipment. Yamaha didn't adorn the Tracer 900 with many fripperies. It has adjustable yet basic traction control and ABS, 3 fuel maps to choose from, and a screen that you have to grab and yank to adjust. Lovers of color displays, light-up switchgear and umpteen level traction control won't be overwhelmed.